getting great runs out of turn 2. He's right on the back bumper of Blake Power. He looks high. He tries the crossover out of 4. Blake Power gets his 18th career win in a thriller against TJ Smith. We want to welcome you along to the 2022 Western Midget Racing season recap. Can't quite call it a banquet because we're not all getting together, but as you meet our 5 drivers that we're honoring this evening here on social media, on this video, you will see why we can't all get together as we span all the way from Brentwood, California down to Peoria, Arizona. It was a great season for Western Midget Racing. 6 different racetracks from as far north as Marysville and on down south to Glendale, Arizona at the Adobe Mountain Speedway and everywhere in between. And after 28 races of excitement, Blake Bauer of Brentwood, our 2022 Western Midget Racing champion, back-to-back champion, and in 2022 with a best 12 finishes format, he went 12 for 12 victories, and that sealed the deal for the young driver out of Brentwood, California. This is also serving as our preview for the 2023 season, where we will be racing in 2 different regional series in the upcoming season. We'll have the NorCal region with 6 Friday, Saturday weekends across tracks at Antioch, Petaluma, Marysville, and Watsonville, including most notably both nights of this year's Howard Kading Classic at Ocean Speedway in Watsonville. We will also have our Southwest region racing in Arizona at Mojave Valley Raceway and Adobe Mountain Speedway. And for 4 events this year, both regions will come together for our national races at Ventura Raceway that will pay points for both the NorCal and Southwest regions. And we can't wait to introduce you to all 5 of our drivers that we're honoring tonight. Now, these 5 drivers, they were eligible for our points awards, having made a start at all 6 venues. So these were truly some road warriors who spent a lot of time on the road. And in the case of Kyle Hawse, spent every single event on the road coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada with perfect attendance. 2023 is right around the corner. On February the 4th, our points-paying Southwest Regional Opener at Adobe Mountain Speedway in Glendale, Arizona. You can find schedule and rules information at westernmidgetracing.com. And with that, it's time to introduce you to our top 5 drivers of 2022. We'll hear all about their racing seasons, who they want to thank, and some fun facts about those drivers as well. Thank you for tuning in to our Western Midget Racing 2022 season recap, and we'll see you at the races. Our driver 5th in the points out of Santa Cruz, and our Rookie of the Year, Logan Mitchell.
So I started racing pavement go-karts for about 6 years and was pretty successful in that, and then moved into the dirt kart stuff, and then was winning a bunch in that. Was like, oh man, we need to take it to the next level. So we got into the WMR stuff, and so stoked we did that.
So how big was it that one of the home tracks, of course, Ocean Speedway, is right in your backyard there in Santa Cruz?
Yeah, I've been going there my whole life, so it was very cool to be able to race there, but at the same time, going from flat karts to a midget is a big jump, so it took some acclimating, but before the end of the year, like middle half, we were rolling, and I feel really good.
What were you able to transfer as far as your driving style and experience over to the midgets, or do you kind of have to start over?
The main thing I could relate was just being smooth. Smoother's faster, so that was the main thing. But like the throttle and the brake and stuff, that's nothing like the go-karts and how you have to drive them, and they don't work good unless you drive them hard. And going from small tracks to racing Watsonville and all those tracks, it was a little bit of a mind curve, but feeling good.
So what does that mean to you to be the Rookie of the Year for this year?
It's very special. I didn't think that would happen middle part of the season. And, I kind of looked at how things were going and how the points were. And It was very special. I'm very stoked to add that on my resume. I wanted it really bad. So it was great to get that and add a very positive highlight to the end of the year in my resume.
So this season coming up, we got a pretty cool schedule this year, and one of the things that's great is both nights of the Howard Kading Classic, and of course you got the TK wing right behind you. So how
Oh yeah.
meaningful is that for you as a Santa Cruz guy, a Watsonville area guy, that will be racing both nights of the Howard Kading Classic?
I've honestly been thinking about it every day. I've been thinking about just, I want to win both days. I want to win period at Watsonville and anywhere. This year, I'm, I'm aiming to win as much as I can and get that first win. I want to do it at my home track. I've been going there since I was a kid and watching TK wheel the Roth car. Just a bunch of good memories, and I really want to win this year, especially there in front of all my friends and family and stuff. So to run both nights, that's really, really cool. I went to the first. I've been to all the Kading Classics, but to be able to race it and put on a good show for 2 days is going to be pretty cool.
So why don't you tell us about all the people and all the sponsors that made this season possible for you?
Yeah, Sideways Designs for doing my graphics. They do a phenomenal job there in Bakersfield. So if anyone needs any good graphics, make sure you give Chris a call. Pepper Supply Co. They make really cool clothes and stuff. They've been a help this year. Mayor Iron and Design. They've been a huge help. Barnes Welding Supply Co. They've been also a huge help. And my dad and my mom and everyone that Tyler Slay, Pete Rivera. I'm probably forgetting the people. It's hard to remember everyone when you're not looking at the car, but Price Right Restaurant Equipment, Randy and Brad First. So those were everyone that kept our program going last year.
Our driver, fourth in the points from Southern California, Todd Hawse. Can you tell us a little bit about any racing background you might have before you started racing with us?
I didn't have any racing background. My dad raced for 20 years in NHRA. So yeah, I just came into it fresh, and went from there.
Had you been around dirt track racing at all before you started running with us?
No, I had been a couple times to Ventura when I was younger for the Ventura Fairgrounds stuff, but never thought I'd actually be in a car racing with these guys.
So what's that experience been like with just you got to have a dirty race car you got to maintain, all the heat races and hot laps and kind of the whole thing that goes into it. What's that experience been like for you as a driver, getting used to all that?
It's been good. I went to the school at Ventura when I first started just to get my feet wet, and then ended up buying a used car to get started and put a little TLC into it. And my cousin's the one that got me into it. I went with him to Watsonville a couple times just to, air up the tires. And after a few times to the track, he said there was one for sale. So I went ahead and went for it.
So how much fun has that been, being able to race with your family?
It's good. Me, my cousin, all of them, really, his parents, we all get together now, and whether we win or lose, we, cook some meals, hang out, get together a couple times a month.
So this season, your second season, kind of your first full season, you had a couple of really good runs, couple of podium finishes. Marysville was a really good run for you guys. What do you think have been some of the keys for turning the corner and having these pretty successful races?
Really, it's just been getting the car, set up to how I like it. My dad does a lot of the work on the car. Him and Kyle Hawse, are on the phone every day talking about the car. So, just little tweaks here and there. And, every track's different, so the more laps on each track just gets better and better.
And we expect we'll have a lot of people tuned in for this banquet season recap that aren't as familiar with our cars and the style of racing. What would you say to folks that might be looking at this and thinking about getting involved with Western Midget Racing and what it's been like to be a part of it?
It's been good. All the guys are cool to hang out with. It's inexpensive compared to, going into a sprint car or a USAC, so it makes it affordable. As long as you don't crash. But yeah, I mean, grabbing a trailer and a car and everything, you could be ready to roll for like $20,000 if you picked up a used car. So it makes it where it's not so hard on the pocketbook.
And what do you see as your plans for this upcoming season?
I'd like to hit up all the races. I know my cousin's going to try and do all of them again. So I want to beat him. So that's number one goal.
Yeah, he runs them all. So I guess to beat him, you got to join him. So tell us about all the people and sponsors you want to thank.
Especially my dad from Hawse Carpet and my mom. They helped fund all this. As far as traveling, getting to the tracks is the one expensive thing that is key. Sunland Wood Products, which is Kyle's stepdad, he helps out with fuel and tires from time to time, and we have Southern California Electric Firm. They've helped out me a bit. One of my bigger sponsors. Who else is on there? West Evans. He's been very helpful to us since the start.
Our driver, third in the points with perfect attendance, Kyle Hawse.
The only racing I've done actually previously before this was I did jet ski racing for about 4 years.
So did any of that translate to this?
A little bit more, just kind of the feel. With jet ski racing, it's feeling the ski underneath you and stuff like that. So, a little bit different with feeling it in the seat versus standing up on a ski, but throttle control, stuff like that. A little bit of something I kind of could bring over, but it's still quite bit different.
So did your family have any background in dirt track racing before you got involved in it?
No, my dad and uncle used to do a lot of drag racing. When I was pretty young, I don't recall very much of it, but we did used to go to the track quite a bit, and I know they were pretty competitive back in their day, and it's kind of brought it back out of both of them. Me and Todd both doing racing dirt. And, how I got into this whole thing was just working on a neighbor's car, lived down the street from me, Scott Hansen, and helping him out on the weekends and getting to swing by and working on his car. And then I started going to the races with him and just kind of fell in love with dirt racing and sprint cars and midgets in general. And, just finally was able to do it on my own and kind of made it happen.
So then we fast forward to this season, and you really made it happen. You made it to every race this year and ended up third in the points. How do you assess this season, and how special is that accomplishment that you were able to do that?
It was really good. The main goals of the season were getting laps, learning as much as I can, and just trying to be consistent. Try to get in that top 5, top 3. And I knew if I could try to get there that a win might be possible. We had a very good early part of the season where I was running pretty good, and then kind of struggled a little bit lately. But the goal was just to get laps, and I knew if I overdrove the car and did some things that wrecking the car, I wouldn't get laps, and that was the most important part to me. And the biggest thing to learn was just you're not learning if you're in the pits working on the car, and just trying to get laps and get comfortable in the car So I met most of my goals. Wanted to win some heat races, make it every race, and just try to make them count.
Well, and you talk about that early season success. It was all on the small tracks, Adobe and Ventura primarily. What do you think it is about those tracks that really played to your driving style?
I think it's just being real smooth, and I feel like our package that we've kind of have gotten to has worked well at those tracks. I do struggle with the gripped up and hang on to your pants kind of tracks, and we're slowly getting better at them. It's something I keep pushing to get better at, but I just, being smooth and trying to really drive the car. And that's something that, I think is important.
So one of the things that we had this year in WMR, of course, was all the traveling money. And of course, then at the end of the year, there was some additional money for the amount of races started. How helpful was that for your season to be able to have that as you were going down the road?
It helps a lot. That's their biggest expense of getting up and down the road is fuel cost these days. And, every little bit helps. It doesn't pay for itself, but, it does help. And it really did help a lot.
So who are some of the people and some of the sponsors that you want to thank?
So, first of all, my wife and my kids. Without them and without my wife pushing me to keep trying to get better and pushing me to really, chase something I've always wanted to do. My dad and my mom, my stepdad, are always trying to go to the races and help me out. And my uncle and my cousin, having them come along for this ride, it's been fun. We've gotten a lot closer as a family from it, I feel like, and we're having a lot of fun. And the couple of people that helped me out, Blood Lubricants, CSI Shocks, they're so helpful. The guys at Triple X have helped me a ton. So just few companies that helped me out.
Our driver second in the points and the Adobe Mountain Speedway champion, Cory Brown.
Pretty much, I was into racing asphalt go-karts, racing those for a little bit. And then a buddy of mine ended up getting a dwarf car. I tried one of those for a while, ran those for a little bit, and then found out about these midgets and ended up picking one up. And here I am now.
So how would you say that dwarf car experience prepared you for the midgets?
It definitely helped with like racecraft and stuff like that. But as far as driving them, setting them up, everything like that, it's completely different. But it was definitely it definitely helped out my racing as far as like knowing how to things come up as far as traffic and stuff like that, how to basically, I don't know how to explain it, but basically the racecraft kind of helped me with that quite a bit.
What does it mean to you to win that Adobe Mountain Track Championship this year and be second overall?
No, it was definitely cool. Honestly, I didn't know that they were doing for individual tracks. When I found out about it, it was pretty cool to hear that I ended up getting the championship for Arizona for Adobe. And then second overall is definitely a cool deal with basically just getting into these open wheel cars, trying them out. It was definitely cool and kind of definitely an experience to learn what I'm doing right now.
Tell us about some of the people and some of the companies you'll want to thank for making that possible.
Definitely, there's quite a bit of people. B&B Chassis, they've been around. They've been sticking with me ever since I was racing dwarf cars. FI Racing Products, Blood Lubricants, By AZ Homes, Swift Powder Coat, DRD Graphics, and MWR Technologies have all definitely stuck by me. I've learned so much through all those people. My wife, always sticking around everything I do. She goes with me to almost all my races, definitely sticks by me. There's so many people that it's not just something that you do by yourself. It definitely takes a lot of help. Buddy of mine, Kevin, always going to the races, helping me out. Hashtag 91 sucks, always being there for support. He's always, giving me pointers. If I suck, he'll let me know. If I'm doing good, he'll let me know. it's kind of one of those things of always, it's just a group of people always going around helping.
And then how much are you looking forward to this 2023 Southwest Regional battle you're going to have?
No, I think it'll definitely be good. It's definitely, I think it's going to grow Arizona quite a bit. We have tons of interest. It seems like, every time you go to the track or you talk to someone, there's someone else looking into doing it. Race in Mojave will be good for our series. There'll be people in Nevada, stuff like that will want to, I think hopefully we'll get some interest over there and help grow the series down south. And Ventura is always a good time to go to. Racing people from up north, coming down here and racing us, it definitely makes it interesting and fun. Always racing new people.
Now, being a dwarf car guy, that's kind of an epicenter for them at Mojave. So I got to imagine you've raced there. What can you tell us about that track?
Obviously it's bigger than Adobe. I've only raced there a handful of times. The times I've been there, it's been great. I think it's going to be awesome to have these cars on there. It's I would say about the size of Marysville, about that size. It's always been good track conditions when I've been there. I think it'll be interesting to see how these things work and how everyone else enjoys it.
Our 2022 champion, Blake Bauer.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I started out in quarter midgets and stuff and around the age of 4. And, I started progressing my way up into micros. And, eventually we started talking with Tony Biscacci about getting, a little bit further in my racing career and maybe going into a sprint car or midget. And he finally, one of these days he built a Ecotech for me to run. And, it's just a shock to see what I had in, went out that first night with Tony and the Bay Muffler guys and stuff and pulled off the unexpected and won our first main event in my first midget ride. So couldn't give any more thanks to him and for starting out my career in this whole midget racing stuff and, progressing into winning championships and him building a whole team based off of it. So, I couldn't do this without Tony and my dad and everybody. So that's where it all just came to right now. So.
Well, then you look at 2021, that was a very close points battle with David Prickett. But then we fast forward to 2022, and you guys really put together just about a dream season, 12 wins, 12 for 12 as far as the points go. Just how special have these last couple of years been?
I mean, it's been unreal just to be able to get the opportunity to run, those high-end cars that he provides us. And, he only tries to give us the best, and I couldn't be more thankful for that. And especially, all the battles and all the good people that are starting to come into the series and just to also see the series grow into what it has been for the WMR midgets. And, again, I couldn't be more thankful for it. And it's just awesome to be in the position I am today. So
we see those USAC trophies behind you as well. And obviously you've been dipping your toes in that stuff. First thing I want to ask you is how's everything going with your injury recovery?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm still doing the physical therapy, getting motion back in my my arm and stuff. And, I'm just trying to be, taking it easy. And my main focus is my health right now and getting back and trying to be better than I was last year. So that's the main goal right now. So, right now we don't have a car for the next season. So we're still going to be running the WMR stuff, but we're also looking into trying to get a ride for the USAC midgets or getting into a sprint car, hopefully, and trying to pursue my racing career into, upper level stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. And, hopefully we could pull something off for the next season, but we're definitely going to be running full time with WMR. So very happy about that.
So what would you say are your long-term racing goals? You want to go USAC, World of Outlaws, NASCAR? What do you have in mind for yourself?
The whole goal for me, when I first got into the midget stuff, my whole goal was to just be able to run the full USAC Western Series and see how we did. And I really my whole goal is to be able to run the National Series, but it's pretty hard with all the sponsorship deals and all the stuff you have to do to get to that level of, proving to people what you're worth, and and try to sell things and try to represent good cars and teams. So we're trying to see what we could do, and maybe we'll get lucky and end up doing something like that in the future. So we'll see what happens.
So speaking of sponsors, this will be your opportunity. Why don't you tell us all the people you need to thank for this year?
First, I really want to thank Tony and the whole Biscacci family, and of course my mom and dad. And Tony and them, they spend so much time in the shop just going over everything, making sure the cars are all pristine. And I also want to thank Orland Public Auto Auction, National Towing, Mountain Cascade, Arbor Specialties, Trench Shoring, MCH Electric, Z-Max, Sold by Guys, Rain for Rent, Tri-Valley Hose, Motivated Eyewear, and a couple other people. Alan Christie Huggins and Ron Singh. So I couldn't be more thankful for these guys helping me get to the track every weekend and supporting me, and also putting in all the work to make sure that we have the best equipment. So couldn't be more thankful.
Tell us what it's like to be a part of this as a competitor, and how well these cars race.
Oh, I mean, I think this is a class that is going to really succeed in the future. And even right now, I like the whole point of just being so kind of stock in a way. You can't do any adjustments. And I know there's been talk about the new shock adjustments and stuff you could have in 2023 with this. And I like how it's so equal. You could have they're all tuned the same, so you can't max out to anything. You could have a little lesser power if you have the different motor or something. But the main thing is that's what keeps it good, is everybody's equal. There's no more horsepower than everybody. Everybody can reach the same, and it's all based off of driver and setup and how experience, basically. So that's the whole thing I just love about this class, and it's a good class to get into if you're moving up, or you don't have the fun to go to USAC or do anything. So this is definitely one of those series that's an eye-opener and a good eye catcher. So
Mexican food,
it has to be tried too.
Mexican food is what I'm eating most of the time.
Pizza,
breakfast burrito,
Diet Pepsi, a Rockstar, I guess. Yeah. Water. I mean, that's pretty much all I really.
Energy drinks, man. I gotta say, I love like Bangs or something. So we'll stick to that.
Everybody's probably always seen me with a Monster.
After the races, it's nice for Coors Light, but during the week, some water or Gatorade.
I'd have to go with a Diet Dr.
My favorite racetrack's Marysville. I've been there with a dwarf car, and it's completely different than what we have here in Arizona as far as the track conditions, the dirt there.
It has to be Ocean Speedway. It's between a couple. Hanford is a good track, Placerville, and probably Ocean Speedway.
Probably Ventura, because that's I grew up around there, going there as a kid, and that's where I really fell in love with dirt racing. So it's kind of somewhere special to me.
Watsonville, it's very technical and it can get rough, so that kind of makes it easy to drive at other tracks. I love Eldora. I've been there to watch, and that's probably my favorite one.
I like Ventura a lot. I'm getting better at it each time we go, but Watsonville is a lot of fun when they get the track, smoothed out a little bit in the corners.
I'm gonna have to say Tanner Thorson's my favorite midget driver.
Definitely, I know a lot of people know this, but T-Mez, I respect him, and he's just one of those guys to where he expresses himself and he doesn't try to be anybody. So I really give a lot of respect to T-Mez. So
as a kid, one thing is Tony Stewart probably. I mean, I love watching him race, and going in, not even necessarily NASCAR, hanging out at the tracks and watching him race pavement sprint cars, and all the stuff he was doing back then that was cool.
TK, he could just wheel the Roth car and keep the front wheels off the ground. It was just really cool.
When I was growing up, I used to watch Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, guys like that.
My routine, definitely eat before I get in the car. I have to have a full stomach that night.
I used to carry a Indiana quarter with me because my friend Brian Clausen, that was it had an IndyCar on the coin, so that was kind of like a good luck charm.
Once again, congratulations to all 5 of those drivers for putting on some great racing this year with the 2022 Western Midget Racing. Once again, we get started on Saturday, February 4th from Adobe Mountain Speedway in Glendale, Arizona. Can't wait to see a lot of you there. It'll kick off our Southwest region for the 2023 season. On behalf of all the sponsors of WMR, on behalf of our promoter Mike McClooney, my name is Stephen Blakesley, and we'll see you at the races.